Okay, looks like I've destroyed my stern deck. My project for these few days off, as you'll see, here's my Beta Marina 75 horsepower engine. You can see the bank of batteries just to the left top. What I've done it without videoing it because there's not a lot of space, even though there's a big boat. All the floor area is looking directly down where the scraper is, and then down into the actual base plate, which is to the above that air pan. It's like a frying pan, that floor area, and then directly below me now, and then this area, as I say, where the scraper is, and that area there up to the fuel lines, which you can see running to the back of the boat, and possibly even the weed hatch. What I've done, I've used my palm sander and just gently lifted off any flaky paint. There's not a lot of rust or anything there, although the bar that runs across, as you can see in front of us in the edges, this is the actual drainage channels for any water that gets on top of the covers. It runs into these channels, and there's a hole there, as you can see, right in the corner of the two channels there. There's another one just here in this right hand corner, and then if you go to the front, this is towards the back doors, just underneath the door you'll just see there's a hole going out to the side of the boat. So my plan today, which I've done most of it, as I say, I've moved all the flaky paint, I've degreased and hoovered out all these base plate areas, and I'm just waiting for it all to dry, and I'm just going to put some cure rust into the areas that's on this channel that's a little bit rusty, and then tomorrow I'm going to apply undercoat, just to say, to the areas I've just shown you. And then once I've got the top coat on, which depending on how the undercoat dries, I may put another coat on Wednesday and then top coat it next week on my days off. Once all this area is done that I said I'm going to do, then I'll move that's the spare cratch and pram cover under there, which is quite bulky. And when I went into the engine bay, I found all sorts of odds and sods. There's some there going across the back of the boat, there's a drum right here, there's a chimney next to my ash bucket in that black bin liner, and tins of paint. So I've got to, and I've even found a pair of chairs, like deck chairs, that's under here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to paint all the areas now that I've cleared, and then next week I'm going to take that cover out, and I've only got to literally degrease that area, put a coat of primer on, and then just top coat it, which I can do in 3 days off next week. I'm not painting all the side panels and the upper panels. There's no need, they're not rusted or unsightly, but I just like the fact that, as you can see, it's got two different colour paints there for some reason, and I just think it would be nice if it all looks the same. So join me tomorrow, because tonight I'm going to put the cure rust on, and then I'll show you what it looks like in the morning before we come to put the first coat of undercoat on it. Right, I'm not too sure if you can see, it's a bit late at night now, but I have got the first undercoat on, so I'm hoping now tomorrow, because the other paint, this takes about 14 hours, so it's now about 8 o'clock at night, so 8 o'clock in the morning will be 12, so if I get onto this about dinner time tomorrow, that area there that's lighter, now that will be done in a couple of weeks once I've moved everything that's there across, just to bring it in line with what I've already done. So tomorrow I'm hoping, as I say, to get maybe 2, even 3 coats on of the top coat, because it only takes 1 to 2 hours to dry, so it'll just brighten everything up and make it look a bit smarter, and all the rails around the edge again just look that bit nicer now. I've just noticed a bit there I've missed, so I'm just going to have to touch that bit in. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. All this in front of the stairs, the rail there is all done, and it's all been treated now with cure rust, so it wasn't bad, but it's just a preventative measure. So We'll have a look in the morning when there's a bit of sunshine and we can see a bit better. Talk to you in the morning. Good morning. Well, slight change of plan. I got the cure rust on quicker than I thought yesterday, and it only takes 15 minutes to go off. So last night, as you've seen in the previous video, I'd actually got the undercoat onto the base plate, so it's now looking a lot nicer. And again, on them two areas there, now I say that bit to the left is to be done once I've moved the cratch and pram covers. So I'm just going to see. Oh, that's almost perfectly dry, so I'm aiming to put the top coat on in about 3 more hours, 4 hours. I've got to go and fetch some coal, so it'll not be till about 1 o'clock. It's now 9 o'clock in the morning, so I've just got to get the engine cover back over for now, that big board there, so I can get Misty out and take her for a morning walk. But yeah, I'm pleased with that, and I can't wait to be getting out on the water with this big beast doing what she does best. So the top coat is slightly lighter. I think this is a slate and the other ones is a lighter grey, but at least then I can see if there's any water or oil leakages, and that was one of the reasons I wanted just to square everything up and make it look neat and tidy. So I'll show you that a bit later on today when I get the I'll get the first side done, and then I'll just video it in comparison to the second, so at least you can see the difference. Right, that's the first coat of the grey. It is slightly lighter, but as it's drying, it's drying a little bit darker than I thought it was going to be, so I think it'll actually match okay, because I'm not doing these side panels, although I have done the across the back of the weed hatch, that panel. I wasn't intending to, but I just thought it would match in with the weed hatch. I've done all the rails that are down there. Then down this side of the engine again, you can just see it starting to dry already. I've got my heater in here because I just want to get a good start, because I was hoping to put a second coat on tonight, which will be the final coat. But I've decided I'm going to leave it till the morning. I'll turn the heater off in a bit, then leave it till the morning, and then get one more coat on before I put the covers over it tomorrow night after I put all the bits back. I may, depending on how I feel tomorrow, leave it to dry tomorrow with the covers on and then put the bits back towards the weekend. It just means my deck looks a bit of a mess. Then I made one stupid mistake, painting out best I could, and the only way I could step out was onto where it says Beta Marine, and I got my right foot on there and my left foot right down in there somewhere, and as I jumped onto this side I managed to knock the paint, and now I've got a grey prop shaft cover bearing, whatever it's called, and a grey water pipe, because the paint spilt about 1/3 of a tin right down into the bottom of the boat. So I've used my long handled brush and brushed it around, because I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to be walking in there, so it doesn't matter if it takes a week for that to dry, but at least I know it's got a good coat of paint on it. But I have got enough left just to do the second coat that I want to get put on, as I say, tomorrow. I've had enough of painting now, I'm fed up on it. But at least it's starting to look a lot better, and we'll see what it looks like in the morning. I'll show you then. One of the things when I first came to look at Freedom that concerned me was the size of this engine cover board. Jeff, the original owner, lifted the two separate boards. You can see that is the weed hatch obviously, and the board there that's leaning against the back whilst the paint dries, that's the one that I can lift solely for to get to the weed hatch. You don't have to lift the whole engine bay cover. But when he came to lift this one, I noticed he did struggle, because it has got quite a bit of weight in it. And he leant down and put his finger through that hole. You can just see there's a hole there, and he was huffing and puffing as he was lifting. So I got in touch with the local boatyard, this is before I bought Freedom, and asked them to give me a price to cut this board in half. And then, as you can see, there's a brace bar there going across. I wanted them to weld a brace bar roughly halfway across, so it runs, you know, the width of the board. So instead of having one large board, I'd have two smaller ones. And they came out, apparently, and Jeff showed them what I wanted to do, and they gave him a price, or gave me a price, something in the region of just short of £400. And I thought, well, that seems a bit steep, but I haven't got the ability to weld anything in myself, and decided I better look at other options. And then on eBay I found this bad boy. Now, anybody who's got a few years on the clock will know this is a bale hook, used on farms and on docksides for literally stabbing into a bale and dragging it to where you want it. Now, I think I paid the priceless sum of £15, including delivery. And this lovely thing with this, I can't show you properly because the other board's still up, but the lovely thing with this is, and I'll show you in the morning when I come to do it again, I just drop the hook into the bar, into the hole, and without having to lay all the way down, I can pull it up. I will show you this in the morning, but £15 well spent, absolute godsend, because once you've got the board lifted up in the air, and I'm standing on this board which is now removed, it's quite easy to actually lift it out of the way. It's only if you're trying to bend down and put your thumb or your finger through that hole, you're in such a position that it makes it almost impossible to lift the board up. So once I've got all the painting done, I'll show you in the morning when I come to lift this off just how easy it is. I'll drop that board back down and you'll see what a great investment. £385 cheaper option, and it works perfectly. Just thought I'd show you that. Right, that's the second coat, which is the second top coat, just completed. It looks a little bit multicoloured at the moment because it's drying in different stages, as you can see down to the port side on the engine room floor, and again on the starboard side you can see where it's drying. It actually looks like I've just put a little bit of paint down. I've actually painted the whole floor, but it's just drying slightly different. I suppose it's how it is. And I've done all the rails again all the way around these water channels. They've all got the paint on now. So I've got a heater on in here just to help speed up the drying process, because I want to drop the boards back on, and then I'm just going to show you how I lift these off with that hook I showed you earlier, just to give you some idea. And I always like just to keep people updated on prices, and to do the engine room to this standard so far I have got a little bit left there to do, but I've told you this already. I'm going to move them covers once I've packed everything else away, and then I can get in there and get that painted. I've got enough paint left, top coat and undercoat, and the total expense was £24 for the 2 cans of paint. Both were exterior metal paint, so they should stand the test of time. And I spent about £5 on odds and sods, a little bit of terps, and I think I bought an extra brush, so under £30, and a really tidy, good looking engine compartment now. So as I say, I'm going to show you these covers once this paint's dry a bit later on today, and then get that bit done, and then I can move on to the gas lockers in the bow. So Freedom's really getting a bit of a facelift. Hope you found this informative. Just join me for the removal and fitting of the covers, and then I'll catch up with you next time. I'll show you that in a bit. Right, just as promised, I just want to show you, I put both the boards down now because I've finished painting for this week. I'm going to leave it for 3 days to dry now under these covers, but just to show you how easy, when this board is in place, this is covering the weed hatch, I can just lock the hook under the board and simply lift. and moving it out of the way is absolutely child's play. And again, laying it down, you can do it without having a major issue, and just take out the hook. The weed hat cover, I don't need to use the hook because it's not heavy and it simply moves out of the way. So that's how we do it, and save myself over £380 in the process. Job's a good one. Thanks for watching.